We have thus seen leaders in reflective moments and as they talk to members of their own flock. But what about their approach to non-Negroes?
Okay, so this is the Pope's first visit to the Americas, to America, and to these states in particular. On his first visit, he meets with the president, with the United States President Obama, and during his visit, you know, everybody's waiting for something exciting to happen, which had happened, and is an interesting moment because he's asked this question by a foreign reporter, obviously. What about the Negroes? Now, what Obama's response to that was, even though the question was geared toward the Pope, Obama's response was, thank you, everybody. And then it ends. Now, that is the equivalent of Donald Trump not answering the Muslim question. When that man jumped out of the, not jumped out, when that man posed the question to Donald Trump, who's running for the U.S. president, about whether Obama was Muslim or not, you know, and I think General Colin Powell stated eloquently that it's neither here nor there, you know, whether he was or wasn't, or is or isn't, but that the fact that Donald Trump didn't answer became a speaking point for news media and for, you know, the community at large. The fact that, you know, it's such a touchy topic, and he offended a blanket majority of people who study Islam, study, you know, the Muslim belief system, who follow the Muslim belief system. Now, when you say something like, you know, when a reporter who's a foreign reporter, respectively, asks a question, you know, about African Americans, blacks, Negroes. Now, before people say, well, we're not Negroes, or now look, the NAACP, what is that? What does those acronyms stand for? Don't it's like Negro and Negro something, right? Negro, you know, right? So she was right at asking about Negroes. Like, it's offensive here to people who are not familiar with history. Like, anybody who's not familiar with history, like if you go to other countries, it's like, it's not meant to be offensive. You got what I'm saying? So, and anybody who's wise enough or intelligent enough or who have any sort of intellect knows what the question was about. It was asking about what about the black people? Now, because obviously during the rest of the conversation, there was other questions about other cultures. Now, obviously during this conversation or during this setup, there are reporters there to ask questions. You got what I'm saying? So there's photographers. If it wasn't meant for reporters to ask questions, then they shouldn't have been there. They should have just been silent photographers and people taking notes. Now, they was obviously given a chance to ask questions. Now, when the question about black people came across, there was no answer. You got no answer. Your answer was cut off. It was, okay, thank you, everybody. And that's it. Now you move on. When you was posed as a thug, you get an entire conversation. You get news write-ups. You can be good. You can be a thug, but you can't be a Negro. You could be everything that. You can be a criminal. You could go to the prison system. They make sure, you know, they do these things and put the U.S. presidents in a place where you're seen in the wrong light, you know, and it gets addressed. But here, a reporter is given an opportunity on the international stage, poses a question about what about the Negro, and the answer is there is no answer. We don't talk about that. So that mean you're of no concern on an international platform when you're 85% of the globe. It was a direct question, so you know, I don't know if people, you know, that will register with people that this moment in history has been recorded on an international platform, and you've been they clowned you they clowned us on an international platform, as if you have no relevance, and it's something that's even more important, because the show's over. The show's about over. It's closing. What's even more key right now is the reparations petition has now reached the amount of numbers, the amount of signatures needed to be presented to the White House. The reparations petition has garnered enough signatures to be discussed as a topic or as a posed topic for the White House to address. Now, the way this situation just happened, it's your time to address that and make that the topic of discussion for anybody that is running for president. Anybody that's running for president, and the sitting president now, who's a black president, Negro president, African American president, whatever he addresses himself as in the rest of his family. But that is something that's, that's right now. It's something that, you can. It's a topic that's available for discussion. Okay, so do you care that on an international platform you was shut down? Do you care that on an international platform you was cut off and shut and just not even look at the Pope's face? Look at the Pope's face. Look at his face. His face was like, geez, President Obama seemed, rightfully so, cringeworthy at the question, because it's like, what are we, 6 years in, and did we even talk about stuff like that? So when an international reporter asks an international pope about what about the Negro? What about the Negro dilemma? This is an old question. We're in 2015. She's still addressing us as Negroes. It's fucking, this is the funniest, saddest moment in history. Okay? Because it's happening during our lifetime. I just can't. It's over. Just what do you think about the thing? Is it even, is it as sad? It's the end of the world. It's the end of that whole era of being intelligent enough to say, hey, listen, I could, his answer could have been, he could have responded several ways. The same way Colin Powell responded about the response about Obama being a Muslim. There were several ways to address that, such as he could have said, well, we address ourselves as African Americans, or you could have just let the Pope speak. He could have just let the Pope speak, or he could have addressed it himself, which he could have said, well, what about the Negroes? He could have let the woman finish her question, So what do you think?
This is tailor-made for the soldiers. Televised like it ain't a revolution. Tell a friend who the truth is. Oh yeah. They really in the trenches. They really want to Willie Lynch us. They really want to frame us with their pitches. This is the American dream, then you can pinch us. Maybe it's just...
I want to say something about the Negroes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, guys.